So what's going on, everybody?
How's it going, everybody?
It is, today is the 6th of November, 2024. When you guys are watching it, it'll be the following Monday, whatever date that is.
Or later.
Or later. It could be later. Let's see. It releases on the 11th, so the earliest you guys will be watching is the 11th.
Yeah. But as it were, today is the day after Election Day.
It is.
And so today's episode's called Election Fallout, or something like that.
Or something like that. So, yeah. What'd you do last night?
You know, I as much as I have gotten to the point in my life where I'm not trying to watch politics a lot, election night's always a night where I get really excited just to watch it all come in.
Yeah.
So my wife and I put the election results, one up on the big TV, and then I had my little setup here next to me so I could watch the Associated Press. And, you know, we just had some snacks going. She made herself popcorn. I was eating a bag of chips. And, you know, just had a great time just watching as everything closed and started coming in until we just decided it was enough.
Yeah?
Yeah, but it was a good time.
Yeah. I did not have the same experience.
No?
No. We had a friend who used to play Dungeons & Dragons with us online.
Yeah.
And, you know, we forgot to introduce ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
So,
we didn't.
I'm Derek.
And
Hello.
I'm Matt.
Our bad. Today's
okay.
a little bit of an off day because we stayed up too late probably watching election stuff a little bit.
I mean.
Or playing Dungeons & Dragons.
Right on.
So I play Dungeons & Dragons every Tuesday online with a group of Christian guys and my wife, who is a Christian. You guys would know her as Lizzie if you've seen any episodes with her on it. So we had a buddy who is in the military. He's in the Marine Corps. He was in Tampa, you know, getting stuff prepped for when they come back in January. And he drove down and hung out with us, and we surprised everybody on our D&D group with him being there because he's been working overnights and hasn't been able to be on. And so, yeah, I didn't pay hardly any attention at all whatsoever to any of the election anything.
Really?
And every once in a while, the dungeon master, the guy in charge, the storyteller, you know, what have you, would step away for a minute, and then we'd all start talking what was going on.
Yeah.
You know, like we'd check up on it. But, we were pretty focused on what we were doing. We were having a blast in that way. It was kind of refreshing to be so carefree about, what happens. Like,
yeah,
we voted. It's not like it's not nothing I can do to sway anything more than what I've already done. Now it's just sit back and wait. So why be stressed about it, and just who cares? And so we just played Dungeons and Dragons all night. Like, I think we stopped at, it was probably 12:05 when we stopped. So,
yeah, that's still late in itself. So, yeah, we kind of, that was our mentality, is like, you know, we voted, and we know, you know, everybody, you know, as these things close, it's done. So, I mean, let's just see how it happens.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. It's election nights are like a weird holiday.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's like a holiday where it's almost like opening gifts, except for you're not sure if it's a gift or not. You're just, okay, so what's this going to be? What's that going to be? And then you're watching things teeter back and forth or change, and, you know, one person could be winning, and then they flops, and the other person could be winning. That's kind of just interesting to watch, and then hear different commentaries on it and what people are saying, and how they talk about exit polls, they talk about, you know, what they saw there, all these kinds of things. And they interview people. I just think it's kind of interesting. You know, every 4 years, presidentially anyway, every 4 years we get this crazy show. The one thing I enjoyed more than anything was just the fact that, And it sounds crazy to enjoy an election, by the way, because I genuinely don't really enjoy politics. I want to make sure everybody knows that. But this year's election results came in smoother on the whole, which was made it enjoyable. Like the last presidential election, everything felt kind of strange.
Yeah.
Things came in at weird times. People stopped counting in certain places. Like it was just a really odd, just everything. And it was no matter who you were voting for, I felt like it just made it kind of frustrating. And this time it felt like it went real smooth. Like we could all just kind of sit back and watch it all come in. And so that was kind of fun.
Yeah. In the past, maybe not last election, but the election before that, I remember people being a little bit more joyful at the polls. I don't know. Like, I know that's strange, maybe, but also 2012, I felt the same way. Like, people smiled more. This year, though, when I was there, which was on election day, it was first thing in the morning, and maybe it's just because everybody was just waking up. I don't know. Like, barely anybody smiled, except for the people working there. And that was kind of refreshing, that everybody that worked there was in a good mood and kind of peppy, but, like, nobody in line. It was interesting. I actually looked up some of the stats for, like, the who voted when and all that stuff, and it's interesting. The older you were, the more you voted beforehand.
Yeah, earlier voting.
And then the younger you were, with the exception of 18 to like 22 range or 18 to 21 range, they were like one ahead. So they were in front of like the 22 to 25 or whatever the bracket was. But I thought that was interesting that the older cats voted early or mailed in their ballots. I just thought that was kind of strange.
Yeah.
I didn't. I waited till the day of.
I really love the option to go early, and there was a few different days where I was thinking I should go down there and do that and just get it done. The problem is I'm a certified ADHD person, and that kind of person loves the last minute thing. So like, you tell yourselves, oh, I'm going to get it done early. Oh, I'm going to do it now before I'm going to get it over with. All these things. Yeah. And eventually you're just going to do it the day it's due. It's just how it works. And I was just laughing about that. When I went to the polling place, I went at a good time. I went like right kind of after the lunch rush, before the after work rush. So that was a decent time to go. The vibe wasn't, I wouldn't say it was cheerful. It wasn't necessarily completely dreary either. It was, I guess, just kind of, I felt like there was just a duty. Actually, it's what it felt like.
We're here.
We're going to get this done. And the people inside, there were a couple friendly faces, and there were other people that looked like they just were ready to be done with the day. So that was amusing to me. I always love that kind of mix. Try to figure out
what time did you go?
Around 2:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the idea, is to go after lunch rush, but before everybody got off work.
Yeah.
It was either doing it then or doing it before lunchtime, but after like rush hour, like right around 10 o'clock might have been. But we couldn't do it that time because Sadie and I went together. Yeah. Because I had an appointment with my youngest to go take her to the dentist, so that didn't work out. So that was the ideal spot for us, but we did okay. Got in and out of there without too much trouble. I mean, we were in line for like 10 minutes, which wasn't too bad.
No, that's pretty good. Yeah, I got there at like 6:45 yesterday morning. And and there was probably 50 people in line, maybe.
Yeah, it's still a decent amount.
So it's a decent amount, but it moves pretty quick when you got 20 people voting at a time, kind of a thing.
So, did they have like 20 setups there?
There was roughly, yeah.
Oh, wow. I think
at least 16. Like, it was quite a few.
I want to say our polling place had about 12 set up.
Yeah.
I guess
I know it was more than 12. I felt crowded.
I want to say it was like 12. It didn't feel like 20. But, but even then, it was going relatively quickly.
Yeah.
So it's not much to argue about there. You know, I am always amused, though, at that they give you stickers.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. It was strange as a kid, and it's weird to still get stickers now. Some people really love them. I don't know. Are you a sticker guy? You got your sticker.
I got my sticker.
He's got his sticker
on my phone case.
I mean, I took mine. I will say that. I'll accept it.
So I'm weird because I don't do this with stickers on anything like this, but I just felt the need to make sure I had it posted somewhere. I don't know, like it was weird, but yeah. So I don't put stickers on anything. Like my laptop, my guitar case, I don't do any of that. Like some people are sticker happy. I'm not. I hate stickers on things.
I will put stickers on some things. I don't put stickers on. I used to put stickers on like car back windows. Mm-hmm. I don't really do that anymore. I used to put them on my laptops and computers. I don't really do that anymore. There's a few inside one of my Bibles. There's a couple, but they have meaning. I have a couple on my cup here because I thought they were amusing. One says, "Not today, Satan." The other one says, "Salty and lit." That's pretty funny to me. And then the other one says, "Sup, fam?" And I thought that was fun. Yeah, I mean, the cup of a youth minister. What can I say?
Yeah, I don't think it has enough stickers on it to be a youth pastor's.
No, I should probably need like 80 more.
Yeah, I think
Not enough pieces of flair.
Yeah, totally. I mean, even like the little gaps should have like little ones stuffed in there. Plus, you have like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old at home, right? Like,
oh yeah. If I gave her way, I'd have everything be stickered.
Yeah,
I would be stickered from top to bottom.
Yeah.
In fact, that's the only reason I hesitate to give her stickers. I don't know where they're going.
I received for free. I did not steal them. I received them for free. I was given permission to take them. Like, I don't know, 15,000 stickers. But I provided a spiral notebook with it. I was like, here, you can put these in here. And she primarily does.
Primarily. See, there's the key word, primarily.
Well, see, like, she only puts stickers on her stuff, which is good. She doesn't stick it on, like, the walls and stuff like that. Like, and I'm fine with that. I mean, it's not my stuff. She can stick her own stuff.
Yeah. Well, I know that even if I did that with my youngest, if I gave her stickers and a book, there may be some that get in the book.
Yeah.
But she feels the need to express herself in all of creation. So
well, I was kind of like, I was hoping that they might have stickers that I could take to my kid.
Oh, like a future voter sticker?
Yeah, or something like that.
I saw some people with that online, actually. That's interesting. Like, I guess, yeah, let's,
I mean, I didn't take my kid with me this time. I will take her next time. Which I just didn't feel like she's quite there yet.
Yeah.
Maybe a year or two she would have been, but...
Yeah, it was weird to realize that this is the last year before my kids start voting. So my oldest will vote in the next election, which is 2 years from now.
Yep.
In the next presidential election, I'll have 2 kids voting. And so the cycle will start full on. And
did you take your oldest? Have you ever taken your oldest with you to vote?
Actually, I took him. My oldest, I used to take him with me to go voting because I just took him everywhere. So he's seen me do it.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be much of a jarring thing for him. I
was really impressed with my sister. My sister took her son, my nephew, this year. He's 9, and talked him through the entire process and all of the options, and let him ask whatever questions, and answered all his questions, and we were talking about it in our family chat on Facebook yesterday, and it was encouraging because my sister and I don't see eye to eye on anything politically. There's not a thing. I don't think there's. I think there's 0 things that we would see eye to eye on politically, and yet it was really refreshing the way she was talking about like what she said to my nephew and all that about that and the fact that he was excited to be able to vote one day, and it was really encouraging, and I'm hoping that there was more of that this year, because that's what it felt like as far as showing up to the polls happened. Like, I feel like a lot of people showed up this year, and I'm hoping that there was some encouragement towards the younger generations in the midst of that.
I feel like I think we've seen a lot of evidence this year of that. Gen Z was out to vote.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a talk on the internet and in different, Gen Z came out and voted, and a lot of them were really excited to do so, which was really interesting to me. Who they voted for, some say it went one way or another, but I think it was just really interesting to see them willing to take on that task. And I saw one interview, and the kid just felt like it was really important. They asked why Gen Z it's so important for them to vote, and said, because this is our future. I love that, taking it seriously. And it shows that we haven't completely, as a society, lost faith in the system. So that's good. That's good. So, but we know who won, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we're going to talk about what does that mean going forward. Right?
Yep. Sounds good. Welcome to Truth Response. All right, guys, let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for this day. Just thank you for everything that you give us, God. And thank you for going before us. And just though we walk through the valley, you're already there, right? You've already done it. You've stood beside us. And you're walking with us, and you know what's up ahead. And you're there to protect us and to correct us, and you're in charge of it all, God. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to make decisions along the way, God, and to learn from the decisions that I make, and for that gift, and just for the love and the grace and the mercy that you show us more and more of each day, and teach us more each day on how to give that to others, God. Thank you for being our hope, and our salvation. It's in your precious and holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen. So, as we said, we had a winner of the presidential election last night, Donald Trump.
He's the 47th president.
47th.
And the 45th. That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that weird to you that he's the 45th and the 47th? Like,
yeah. I mean, a little bit.
The way that it's all worded. I mean, he's the second guy ever to do this?
I think so. This is it feels like a baseball team or a football team. Like, we've won championships in this year and this year. Right. You ever walk into a high school gymnasium and they got all the years they did something?
Yes.
That's what it's feeling right now.
All of the high schools do. Yeah, it totally does. It's a strange thing. And you were telling me, I just found out,
it's official too. So last night, or early in the morning, the Associated Press was declared Trump the winner. But
I did know that.
So, and that happened, and then Kamala Harris conceded. She called and congratulated Trump earlier today. This is Wednesday, of course, on the win, and then she gave a speech to her people, and Biden has also already reached out to Trump to invite him to the White House and to to try to usher in a peaceful changeover. So there it is. It's in the books. doesn't sound like it's going to be contested or going through any kind of ridiculous whatever.
Yeah, the strange thing is a lot of times in elections you'll get the electoral win but not the popular win.
Yeah, he had both.
And
by a lot.
He got both this year, which is a strange thing just in general. Like it's not normal for either party. I mean, I think Obama had the popular and the electoral, maybe both times he was in, but that doesn't happen a ton. And so it was interesting to see that. Well, yeah, no, the Electoral College and the people had a majority vote for him.
Yeah, actually, I was really surprised.
For one party, in general.
Yeah, I was watching. I was surprised to see many things. I was surprised to see a lot. There were certain states that everybody kind of figured this state's going red, this state's going blue, and for and a lot of them a lot of the ones you think were going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I was really surprised to see Trump doing better in some states than he did before, whether he won that state or not.
Oh yeah.
Including my old home state, Maryland, he did a lot better than I thought he was going to do there. That's really dictated by Baltimore County, City, and Annapolis, and that whole region going towards Washington D.C. That's usually heavily blue, and so to see him doing a little better in Maryland is pretty impressive.
Well, I was listening to Daily Wire today, and Ben Shapiro was talking about like the wave of red that happened, which is like unprecedented, like the way that the county like switchover was. I mean, the flip.
It was wild
to the red this year, and he showed a picture, and it was, half the country like flipped red this year, which is was strange. I don't know how any of that stuff works really, and but to see that like
it was
and I think part of it too is like there's some key members of the middle and the left that are walking with Trump in some of this stuff now.
I guess that's true. It was just interesting to watch that he got up early in the popular vote, and he just kind of stayed there. Actually, he was around about 5 million ahead of her for like ever.
Yeah.
I don't know what the final numbers aren't even in yet. But
last I had seen was 6, so I don't know.
It's about that. It's almost that now. It's still and there's final numbers aren't even in yet. It was wild to see that, but to see states like that flipped. So I before everything started coming in, I looked to see what the map looked like when he ran against Biden, and so Georgia was one of the ones that was first looked like, and it did. Georgia flipped. PA was a big one. That was for Trump. That was a big win. It almost looked like he was going to get Virginia, which would have been pretty wild because Richmond is strong, Alexandria is strong, and there was a few times where it looked like it might go his way, but that did stay blue. He got back Michigan. He flipped Wisconsin, and Arizona and Nevada and
Nirvana?
Not Nirvana, Nevada. So yeah, it was wild. It was a lot of things went a lot differently than people thought, and which that in itself is just kind of really amusing to watch. Is the differences, no matter how you felt about either candidate, it's always something. You realize you're seeing something special, no matter how you feel about either one, when things are going so different. Even when like last time around, Trump supporters were really surprised when he lost some of those states. And I think that was felt by both parties this time, where both parties there were some pleasant surprises and there were some unpleasant surprises, but it was a surprise nonetheless to see some of the things that were going on. There was all kinds of talks about why it happened, and we don't really have to dig into all that today. There's, or maybe ever, for some things.
We're not going to dig into that today.
Yeah, we're not going to. But yeah, so Donald Trump, number 47.
And 45.
Yeah. Now, okay. So anybody, I will tell you this. So if you're not a Trump supporter, I've got good news for you, and that is he can't run next time. So there you go.
Right.
He's going to be off the ballot regardless. So that's good news, right? And if you are a Trump supporter, then I got bad news for you. This is the last chance that he's got to be in there.
Well, you know, the exciting thing is with the way things are now.
Yeah.
We are guaranteed.
Yeah.
2 new candidates next round.
Oh yeah, that's going to be great.
Is exciting to me. I'm ready to see some new, fresh blood. Hopefully younger.
Yeah, I'm already nervous.
Tired of seeing all the older people. No offense to the older people, but like if you're 70, 75, you probably shouldn't be president. Like
I would love to
see.
Not. I'd love to see. I mean, I think 40s would be good.
40s, 50s.
40s, 50s.
You could. I mean, Kamala's not.
I don't think 30s.
Kamala is not outside of it.
I think 30s is way too young. But yeah, 40s, 50s.
Yeah, I think 30s might be
60s,
too young.
okay. 70s, like I feel like we could use some younger blood in there. Maybe some people with some vigor and.
I'm not saying the right person, can't be somebody who's outside of that normal, like that desired range, but like it'd be nice to see some people get some traction that are in that range.
I would be really interested to see.
I think there are going to be some this next round.
I think it'll be interesting. I think I'm not sure. I'm really wondering who the Democrats are going to put up next go round. I mean, they have some choices that would be decent as compared to some others, but we'll see where who steps up, who they decide to rally behind. I think it'll be really interesting to watch and see. I think that the Republicans already have a few strong candidates in their back pocket.
Yeah.
That Vance is going to be a possibility after being vice president. So we'll see what happens there.
You'll see. He'll have to do. Nope. He will have to do something. He will have to make his mark as vice president. Like he'll have to step up and show up, I think, for him to really have a good run.
If he's able to make an impact, that's a positive impact.
Right.
That's what he's going to need. Right. But there's on the Republican side, they have a few candidates that I honestly, if it wasn't for the fact he was already president before and he had as many people already behind him, I think that they could have been great opponents for from Kamala Harris.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't really a fair race, I don't think, this year for really any party.
No, I felt like it felt weird all the way around. But it's over now. And so what does that mean? Well, it means a couple different things. It means that we're going to get a change of pace. Along with the Trump getting elected president, the Republicans also flipped the Senate. And it looks like the Republicans are going to keep the House. So
that one's still out, though, right?
It's still out, but as of right now, they're up a seat. So,
okay.
Or a few. Last time I looked, maybe I thought they saw 3 seats up, but we'll see. Either way, if they keep the House, the Senate, then you're going to see a lot of Republican stuff probably getting passed and put into place. So the Republicans are going to get to work. I know that. I feel like that no matter how where either side of the line that you lay, I feel that there could be positivity from that.
I want to touch on that real quick because I mentioned it just a minute ago, but I think it's an important thing, and that is there are people that have rallied around Trump.
Yeah.
Whatever your feelings are about him, that are from the other sides of the aisles, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got I think Kennedy. Is he libertarian?
He independent or libertarian?
I don't know.
I'd have to look.
He's somewhere in that middle ground somewhere. You've got Tulsi Gabbard.
Okay.
Tulsi Gabbard she was Democrat. She still holds a lot of the same views, but
independent. Go ahead.
He's independent.
Yep.
Okay. She started out Democrat and has a lot of those views, but she's one that really just is open to what is going to be the best fix. I've listened to her talk a lot, and I really like where her head is with stuff. So just those two alone being really big voices in Trump's ear, I feel like that gives some balance.
Yeah.
More so than maybe last year or last time he was in office. So I truly think we're going to see a little bit of a different run this next 4 years. I don't think it's going to be anything as crazy as some people do.
I think. Well, I mean, one thing is that I think there's going to be less infighting.
Yeah,
which will be good. With holding majorities, the Republicans holding the majorities, I think it'll be more of, instead of trying to fight, I think there'll be more negotiation, which will be good in a lot of ways.
So.
Even for the Democratic side. The Democratic side, if they're smart, in my opinion, will do more trying to negotiate than they will fighting. They're going to lose the fight at this point, because if the Republicans have everything, then they're not going to win fighting. They're going to have to learn how to negotiate and play nice, which could be good in the long run to get that kind of.
I think everybody should have to. I struggle with the concept that, everybody needs this said thing or everybody needs this said thing, and there's no room for a mixture of things, because I mean, just take a look at the person who lives in a big city, right?
Yeah.
You live in New York City, your needs are 100% different than middle of nowhere Nebraska.
Yeah.
Right? Your needs are completely different. Your desires are probably completely different. Your lifestyles are 100% different, right? So your needs and wants and desires are different, and both can be valid, right? Both of those needs and desires can be valid. And so we really need the Senate and the House and the presidency to all be looking at it in that perspective. That not everybody needs the same things, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the time to really think about this civilly and try to think, what are we really, instead of trying to just fight over whose agenda is better, then it's more about, okay, let's make sure we remember what's important.
Yep.
And I think that'll be good for both sides.
Yep. I think Biden and Harris, the way they've handled things today,
that's good.
That goes a long way. I think that goes a long way.
It's a great start. It's a great start, and it sets the precedent.
Yeah, it does.
That I think if everybody can follow that, hey, look, and so that's really one of the things we wanted to talk about today is, like, so your guy won or your girl lost or whatever it is, who no matter who you were with, okay, how can we reunite and how can we move forward together? I mean, that's what's key here. I feel like over the past, actually maybe 2016, like when Trump ran the first time, there became this division and separation of people by their registration of Democrat or Republican that I thought was completely unnecessary. It's one thing to affiliate yourself one way or another, but to then be fighting so much over something that with politics. I've heard terrible stories. I've witnessed things. I've experienced things myself where families have problems now because these members were Republican, these members were Democrat, or they were Trump supporters, or they were this Biden supporters or Harris supporters. I've seen people lose best friends. I heard a story of a guy that went over to one of his friends, his lifelong friend's house, and just kind of poked a question in opposition of something that his friend, he was a conservative, his friend was more liberal, and he kind of just poked a question at something, and their friendship ended that day because that person went crazy on them. And that goes both ways. I'm not saying that there haven't been people, I'm not picking on liberals, I'm not, or Democrats, but I've seen it go both ways where I can't talk to them anymore, they're terrible, and people are writing people off, friendships are ending, families are getting destroyed, and it's time for it to stop.
Yeah, it was a strange shift to a universal everything became universal truths, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're Republican, you're a Nazi, fascist,
Oh, yeah.
MAGA supporter, or if you're a liberal. There were some very mean things that were said. I mean, like, but period, and like it,
And nicknames
and all this stuff. But all you had to do was ever have voted for one or the other side, and it's like, whoa, that universals are hardly ever true.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's within religion, right? There's some universals. Outside of religion, there's a few universals. On the day-to-day, universals aren't
There's
normally
not
a
really
thing,
there.
right? There's a lot of exceptions to a lot of rules. So
Yeah. So really, the idea is we need to stop. We need to stop this. I mean,
Yeah.
I would call anyone who would call themselves a Christian. If this has been a part of your life, if you're willing to, if you don't have to admit it to anyone else, because you probably don't, because they probably already know. But if you, I mean, that's the reality of it. No matter which extreme you go. But if you call yourself a Christian, if you follow Christ, it's time to take all that junk and throw it away. It is time to talk about, like, they might have voted different than you, win, lose, or draw, but but we need to love them, and we need to learn how to go together.
that's where it begins.
I think that, for those who were shocked with the election results last night, they're now trying to figure out, how do I go forward in this?
And they're feeling lots of emotions.
Yeah.
Like both sides are, but like for that side, like they're feeling frustrated and confused and hurt and sad and scared and all of these things. They're their feelings, right?
Yeah.
And we have to be understanding of that, and we have to know that, like, 4 years ago, there was a lot of people on the opposite side of the coin that had those same feelings, right? So we've got to be in tune with just knowing people and letting people be. We need to validate people's feelings without being the weird side of validating people's feelings, you know? Like, let people feel what they feel and love them accordingly.
Yeah, and we gotta, exactly. We need to also understand that, one way or another, we're going forward. So
Right.
we can go forward fighting, or we can go forward making peace. And we're called to be peacemakers. We're called to step into the situations where people may be disappointed, they may be frustrated, they may be scared.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is a powerful thing, and we need to be able to help them conquer that. Not for the fact that we want everybody to understand our points of view, no matter what you believe. Like, if you're on the Democratic side, Republican side, liberal, conservative, it's not about conforming someone to your point of view. It's about understanding that they are human like you. They need love like you. They need to feel less fear like you do. They need to know that somehow everything's still going to be okay. One of the strangest things I heard from the Democratic side, liberal side, was, they felt like they were losing a part of their life or their freedoms, or they're going to be treated badly. One person was actually afraid, I heard, that she might be attacked because, she had a sign promoting Harris in her front yard. And I thought that was so ridiculous, but I can understand that fear. We've had there's been so much fear that's been bred into these elections that this stuff for some people is reality. As much as it seems ridiculous to some others, if it's there, how can we help them that? How can we show them God's love first? Right. And I think the best way, you and I have talked about this earlier a little bit, but the best way to do that is to remember that no matter who's president, Jesus is still king.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump's not our Messiah. If you're a conservative, he's not the devil. If you're a liberal, he is just the president of the United States, he got elected. Jesus is king. Jesus is Lord. He's ultimately in control. This is allowed at this period of time. And so we must figure out how to move with Christ through it and be examples of Christ in it, to where we can embrace others in their humanity, at the very least, and know that they're people like us and loved by God just like us.
I think something that's important too for us to remember is that where our identity is and what our identity is in the midst of going forward too, because if someone looks at you as a Christian and identifies your political thoughts before the fact that you are loving and you are kind and you're generous and all of those, like, you might reconsider where you're at as far as you know, your walk with Christ, because really, like, we should be looked at as our identity is in Christ.
Yeah.
We sure, we have leanings, right? We have political beliefs. We have, well, just beliefs in general, you know. Not necessarily political, but we do. We have political leanings, and it could be either direction.
Yeah.
Right? There's arguments to be made for leaning both ways, but at the same time, neither one of those things should come before the fact that people look at you and they're like, you know, they could. One of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten is having someone go crazy against the political affiliation that I tend towards, and then turn to me and say, I don't mean you. You're different. And it's like, okay, so I'm doing something right, because like
that's good.
He sees something different in me than what he sees in apparently all other, you know what I mean? Like, and so, and it is because I try to love unconditionally in especially my workplace, where there's lots of love needed there. But that's your goal, right? Like, that's your goal, is to be known by the love that Christ teaches you to have.
Yeah.
Right? That points people to Jesus.
Yeah. And I think that I think it's a good time for many of us to do a checklist in our head and do a heart check and try to see where we are and what we've done. So, for instance, if you found that all your hope was wrapped up in Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, that's not where it's supposed to be.
Right.
It's supposed to be in Jesus. It's, you may hope that it's one thing to hope that if someone gets in office, they might do something that helps benefit the country. But it shouldn't be to the point where if one of them did get in or one didn't get in, that's what your life rises or falls on. Jesus is the ultimate one. So that should be where have you put too much into that person and not enough into your Lord, because he's ultimately in charge. Another thing that we can think about is, have we become somehow a stumbling block to another person? Now, I am the kind of person that there are a few people that I will seriously talk about my political views on, or talk about who I like versus who I don't like politically, or who I'm looking to vote for. And I do that on purpose. I don't put signs in my front yards unless in small elections, like local elections, if I know someone personally, that might be the only reason I do that. But other than that, like especially big elections, I'm not going to put a sign in my front yard. I'm not going to buy a flag of the person. And that was funny because I saw both of them this year. Yeah. Usually you just saw Trump flags. Now you see Biden Harris flags or Trump. I'm not going to put a flag in my front yard, or fly it behind my truck or anything. What we don't realize sometimes is, and I get it, the love of wanting to support and stand up for what we believe in. I think that's important in many aspects, but that also going to be like the one person that was afraid today. It can be frightening to others, because if they think that by them losing or you winning or vice versa, that's dangerous to them, then we've done something wrong. We need to learn how to set those things aside. I love what you were saying there. Yeah, we need to be seen as different. Mm-hmm. We're called to be, the salt and the light, right? Salty and lit, like it says on my cup. The salt is medicinal. The salt is preserves. The salt brings flavor and value into the world. If you're not doing those things, if you're not helping be a balm for this situation it's helping heal it and make it feel better, if you're not supposed to be the salt that irritates the wound, you're supposed to be the one that cleans it.
Right.
And so what can we do? How can we be better salt? And light, whether you're person one or not, how can you be a light in this situation right now? How can we find hope? How can we find positivity? As Philippians tells us to think about the positive things, there's something positive, I think, that could have happened on either side. We just have to find it, right?
Yeah.
So...
Well, and that's the thing, too. Like, that's the other thing I went into the election with the mindset of is, it doesn't matter who's going to win. There's going to be good things and there's going to be bad things. Nobody's perfect, right?
Yeah.
You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. None of y'all are perfect. Sorry to let you know that. But nobody's perfect. So everybody's going to do something wrong. Everybody's going to do something good. Like, there may be more than one good thing and more than one bad thing. Whatever. It's going to happen. So, you just got to look for it. You're going to find what you look for. It's just like going into a church, right? You will find what you're looking for. If you're looking for a bunch of hypocrites, I promise you're going to find it, right? Yeah. If you're going looking for Jesus, I promise you'll find it.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if it's, for some people, seeing something positive on either side of that ballot seems like an impossibility.
And especially for those of you who voted for Trump that are Christians, right? I'm saying it is your primary responsibility to just go and listen to the people on the other side of the aisle from you, because they need to know that you care about them, and it wasn't something that would fix the fear. That would fix that fear that lady had. Like, if only people had been like, hey, why do you feel this way? What are some things we could do that could be some compromise, that we both could get what we're looking to get?
Yeah, I'm sorry,
there's if there was some just communication from both sides and just the willingness to listen to each other, all that fear goes away.
Yeah. For those who voted for Harris, I would say, obviously today it might seem like a dark day today. It may seem like the wind's taken out of your sails, and that, like I said before, it could seem scary. What's this going to look like? What's this going to feel like? And I want you to remember something. First and foremost, had things gone the other way, that's how the Trump supporters would have felt.
Yeah.
Actually, they would tell you that's how they felt in the last election. So, they know what you're going through, and I'm hoping that knowing that they'll be a little gentler, better, kinder. I'm really hoping. But now's not the time to think the world's over. I mean, look, if you feel like you need to go through a little bit of a mourning phase, look, sometimes you got to mourn. If you think that you need to express your disappointment, do so in a way that is not harming or attacking, please. But then start asking more questions. Look for something good. Ask what was something. Ask people what they think was positive about it, and then look into. There's, one of the things that we know each party wanted to do was lead this country, right? So if we want to lead this country, that means that we still care about this country. Let's look at it that way. And if we care about this country and you live in it, they care about you as a citizen one way or another. And so there is care. There is some kind of plan. We just need to figure out what the new plan is, right? No matter where you're at. So let's all take a step. If you need a moment, take a moment. But let's see how we can either support those who are hurting, or take our steps in healing, and so that we can start to come together. That's incredibly important. I think the number one way, especially for Christian listeners, or if you're not Christian, I will challenge you: embrace Jesus first. Look at him and look how he managed through disappointment. Look how he managed situations that would be fearful. The Garden of Gethsemane, he knew it was coming, and he prayed. Praying is probably one of the biggest things we can do. Pray for the candidate. I would say go as far as to pray, no matter which side you're on, pray on the one for the people who won, pray for the people who lost, pray for the transition, pray for the future, and keep that as part of your process. Anything that you're concerned about, going back to Philippians, pray about. Lay it out there. Talk to God about it. Just because somebody's in office and you might not like him, or maybe you do, doesn't mean that he has full control. The Lord has full control. So the things of this world, the Lord can still use for good, no matter how you feel about it. So pray. Praying is so important. And connect with people. Let's keep the communication lines open.
Yeah, Jesus told parables and talked about things in a way in which he found common ground with his audience. And so I generally like whenever I'm talking to somebody that's doesn't agree with me on some things, like I want to start somewhere, especially if I know I'm going into it, like if I know ahead of time, that's what I'm headed into. I want to start on some common ground. And so whether or not you are a Republican, a Democrat, libertarian, a hardcore liberal, a hardcore conservative, whether you are black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever, like if you claim to be a Christian, there is common ground. And that common ground is love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things. Love believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never ends. That's the same in everybody's Bible.
Yeah.
There's not, you are called to do that no matter where you land on any of those other things. If you also claim to be a Christian, start there.
Yeah,
that's where you have to start.
Yeah, and that means for the Trump supporters listening, this is not gloating time.
Right.
Now, look, if your person won, or in any of the elections, it's one thing. You're allowed to feel happy about that. You're allowed to feel pleased. You're glad. Be glad. There's nothing wrong with that. But we don't need to gloat. Okay.
Right.
If you're out there rubbing it in people's faces, not the good way to start.
Right.
I mean, I get it. I've seen both sides of the aisle that were really happy when they could, quote unquote, shut up the other people that were talking trash in many different elections. I get the temptation. I felt it myself. But this is not what that's for.
This is probably the first election I haven't felt an extreme something one way or the other like that.
Yeah.
Like for myself, just personally, like I felt very aware of my surroundings this time around, which is strange. Like I'm one of those who I'm a grenade in a china shop or whatever, a bull in a china shop or whatever it's called. I'm one of those people. I like to break things. I like to say the wrong thing at the wrong time and all of that. And I say I like to. I just end up doing so. But I was aware this time around of my surroundings and just how I needed to conduct myself at work or, at home or with my friend group or whatever, like how I'm going to have to conduct myself here and in class. Yeah. And it's just been strange that it's just been like, you know what? The focus is Jesus regardless of what the outcome is, right? So, all right.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Yeah. So, let's look at what we can try to find positive and go with that. And no matter what side you're out on, I want to remind you of Romans 12. Romans 12, 1 and 2. Therefore, brothers and sisters, this is all of you, no matter what side you're on, in view of the mercies of God, I urge you to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true worship. Do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by renewing of your mind, so that you may discern what is good, pleasing, and the perfect will of God. It's really important to not fall in.
Perfect will of God.
The perfect, his will.
His will, right.
Not ours. Not the Democrats' will, not the Republicans' will.
Yep.
No one else in the between. It's not their will be done, it's his will be done.
Right.
That's what we need to keep at the forefront in our mind, and we need to renew our minds to that. You know, it's one thing to we get easily caught up in these things in these election times, or with this party or that party, this candidate, that candidate, this thing that needs to pass, this thing that doesn't need to pass, whatever it is. But it's time to renew your mind and start to move forward.
There's a good worship song that says, "If I'm not dead, then you're not done."
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like, that's something we can hang our hat on. That's the hope that we have in Jesus, is that he's coming back. He wins. That shouldn't be a shock to any Christian.
No.
Regardless of what the outcome is.
Yep, we read the back of the book.
Honestly, Christians have been through so much bad in history, and Jews have also been through so much bad in history.
Yeah.
You know, that like perspective is good.
Yeah.
And hope is better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So there we are.
Have hope.
Hope. In Jesus above all. And how can you be Jesus for those who are either celebrating or hurting? Ooh, there's a challenge.
The challenge for you guys is that find a way to help somebody who's hurting.
Yeah. As these months next few months come through, rest of November, December, heading into the the inauguration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's start putting some groundwork in. We need to start doing it now, so that when this next thing gets started, we're already there, or at least as best we can be.
And also remember, tomorrow's not promised. You
it's
only
not.
have today.
Yeah.
So live for the Lord today, and tomorrow will take care of itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yes. That doesn't have the same ring to it.
No.
Yes.
Yes is not as cool as yeah.
All right, y'all. We need y'all to share. There's been some lack of sharing.
Lack of sharing.
And it had nothing to do with
caring.
the lack of posting on the right day. Had nothing to do with that. My bad, guys.
We'll
That's what I'm trying to say is my bad.
That's
I
okay.
had some technical difficulties with the computer and such. So sorry about that. But
Sharing and commenting is incredibly important.
we need your help with that. That's something that goes a long way. Just even a little, hey, appreciate you guys. Something simple like that, or hey, you guys are garbage. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Those things go a long way, a lot longer way than you think. So we appreciate you. We love you guys. We're here for any needs you guys might have. You can reach us on our Facebook and on the Instagrams.
Or for some of you that see us walking around, just grab us.
Yeah, we're here to listen, and we're here to be the light of the world, salty and lit. So
Salty and lit.
God bless.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Make sure to subscribe and give us a like on iTunes and Spotify so that you will never miss a show. And while you're at it, check out our Facebook and Instagram pages and make sure you tell your friends about this show. You don't want them to miss out on the truth, because we are all about the truth here. Thanks for joining us this week, and God bless.